I don't be sipping this shit. I don't be showing my ass, but you cute and shit. I know this probably could last like, ugh, you mad ugly, don't nobody like you. But we should see a movie, only if you like to. I gotta stop, I gotta drop the pride, ego and all. I gotta pause only because I'm too gangster to fall. I gotta stop, I gotta chill, I gotta speak, I gotta stop, I gotta fax, I gotta zoom, I gotta text, I gotta call. I'ma do that.
You should.
1, 2, 3.
I've got to call you. I've got to let you know how much I want you, and need to let it show. In a world of vibrant noise, you're forever my first choice, and I'm overjoyed to say that I want you. Didn't I say I want friends to lovers call? Yes, I know the trouble that's a brew, but I'd rather feel the sorrow than to never have met you. Too damn strong to fly like the moon loves the night.
Damn, can we just talk about all of them?
Oh, really?
Every single one of them. That's Amanda Bryce. That's like Tamia Music. She's a producer. She's a singer and a songwriter. She goes to new school in the city, and she's a jazz contemporary singer.
That's amazing.
Yeah. She got shouted out by Sony Music recently, and Layla Hathaway, which is like,
wow.
Layla Hathaway is like one of my icons. Like,
wow. That's legendary right there.
Yo, legendary. And I just love success. And like I said, she's passionate about what she does. She's independent. She's doing her shit. Just like our fellow guest here, y'all.
Yeah,
I'm super psyched and excited. Like, J.Rose, you gotta let them know. Like, you gotta plug them in because they don't know.
They don't know. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me, because I've been watching you do your work, and talk about passion. So I'm excited to be here. But yeah, I'm J.Rose. I'm from Queens, New York. I'm a spoken word artist, a host and curator, teaching artist, and 1,000 other things. You know how it is. We can't just do one thing.
Right.
Yeah, I've been in this space for a long time, so I cannot wait to talk about my journey with you.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. Like, she's been her and I've been seeing each other like work on the sidelines, on the bleachers, you call it. And yeah, I mean, she's been out here going from event. She hosts events. She's doing open mics. She's opening up for people the next, and then she's doing some poetry on the other side, counseling people like
everywhere.
And I just like love it because it's all aligned with the purpose and the mission at hand, which is cultivating and elevating minds to do what they're passionate about, and fuck the imposter syndrome.
That part.
And fuck anything that you were brought up in, and this is why we're here. So you're from Queens, New York.
Yeah. Were
you brought up in like a single parent home or like?
Actually, I wasn't. I was brought up with both my parents. But they didn't have like the ideal marriage, so it was a pretty dysfunctional environment. It's still pretty they're still kind of dysfunctional. But
hey, they still together.
Okay,
it's mom and dad. Go ahead now.
In some way or shape or form. And they are very active in my life, in my children's life. So I'm grateful for them. But yeah, growing up was like, I grew up in the 80s. So
you fooled me. You know what I'm saying?
Don't tell nobody. So, it was a different time back then, for sure.
What was happening in the 80s in your time, like society wise?
A lot of crack. I mean, a lot of crime. There was this danger that was like around a lot, but then there was also this, like, I think some form of freedom, because we played outside. We had to really figure things out on our own because there was no Google, there was no YouTube to like watch a video on how to do something. We just knew to like blow in the cartridge and put it back. You know what I mean? We knew to unplug the stuff and plug it back in. So I feel like it was a time where young people had to learn to be more self-resourceful, where now like all your answers are at your fingertips these days.
And then we had to figure out through our instincts or our survival mode, honestly.
Right. For sure.
Like, we didn't know what direction we were going to go outside, but we figured it out. We had MapQuest.
Yeah, like later on, MapQuest was like, whoa. Like the internet, like it's crazy. I feel like I grew up in such what I would say an ideal time, because I got to experience like old shit, like 8 tracks and vinyl records. I got to see those things. And I got to see like beepers and cell phones and the internet like be invented. I saw it happen. I watched it. I was old enough to understand it, you know. I remember in junior high school we had to take typewriter class. We had to learn how to use a typewriter.
I love it.
She's like, yes. And then like maybe 2 years later in high school, it was like computers. And I was like, oh, shit, this is like totally different. So like I got to be part of like a huge movement. I got to see that. And I think it's cool. I feel old sometimes, but I'm kind of grateful. I feel like I'm glad I was born when I needed to be born.
We're kind of like, in those times in the 80s, like for us to have fun, we would play outside in the block with all of our neighbors, and if not, we would go to like the roller skating ring, the arcades nearby.
Right. The library was actually somewhere we would hang out sometimes. Yeah. Like the library was kind of cool.
Yeah, libraries to me, I still go. People think I'm crazy for still going, but that's my place. That's my hiding place. I love it. New York Library, I'd be in there getting my shit done.
Yes.
And they even had like MTV shows about it, like Silent Library and. Like,
See?
Pranks that you would do, like Impractical Jokers, but like in a library.
Oh my God. That would be so awesome.
So like I've been dying to like recreate that. I mean, it's gonna happen, but
yeah, let's do it. Let's manifest it. Let's make it happen. I'm here for it.
But yeah, so the music and the dynamic, were you still brought up in Queens?
Well, yeah, I grew up in Queens most of my life, and then like in my late teens, early 20s, I had already graduated high school. My parents moved to Long Island.
Was there like a difference from
a huge difference? It was like culture shock out there. I was like, I experienced like, I guess growing up in Queens because it's so diverse, and I grew up in a high school and schools where, you know, there was every culture you could imagine in my school. Right. Like there was no more of one than the other. Right. You know, it was really, really diverse. To Long Island, where it's not as diverse, or especially when my parents first moved out there, it wasn't as diverse as even now. It's getting better. So like I actually experienced like racism in Long Island as like a 18-year-old girl, you know, where like I didn't get to really experience too much of that growing up in Queens, because I had Spanish and Black and white and Asian and, you know, like whatever, all friends from all over the world. But in Long Island, I experienced racism, which was crazy. Like
racism as a Latina?
Yeah, as a Latina, God. As Afro-Latina, as a non-Caucasian person. Like,
how did they treat you, if you don't mind me asking?
Just like got yelled at like from cars in the street. Like, so I remember one time some guy called me a fat bitch. Like, I was like, that's wild, you know.
Did you ever get like disgusted looks?
Yeah, like people just look at me like, you know. I remember one time when I was dating my daughter's father, who's really dark, you know, he's a Black guy. And like, oh gosh, like the ladies like holding their purses and like, I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all are so extra out here. Don't nobody want to rob your dumbass. Like,
how old were you when you dated your?
Oh, I was in my early 20s.
And then you had your first child at what age?
I was 24. I was turning 24, so I was 23 going on 24. When I had my daughter, I was young.
So you graduated high school, and then what was life like after that? Like,
it was weird. Like my parents, that's like right after high school, my parents moved me to Long Island, and I didn't have a car. and I took like a year off of school. Like I didn't go to college right away. Like I started college in Queens, and then when my parents moved like the following year, I took a year off because I was still getting acclimated.
Adjusted,
yeah.
right.
But it was really lonely because, oh my gosh, why do I want to cry right now? Shit.
It's okay.
Oh,
I had a feeling we were gonna get to this moment.
That. It got really lonely because like I didn't have because I wasn't in high school. It's not like I could go to a local school and make new friends with the kids that lived in the neighborhood. I didn't have a school. I didn't have nowhere to go to like make friends. I didn't know nobody out there.
So what would you do? Where would you stay?
And I didn't have a TV yet for a while, so I listened to music. I listened to music in my room all the time. I would go for walks around the neighborhood by myself. You know, I figured out how to take public transportation to go back to like Queens and hang out with my friends. So I would do that. You know,
were very independent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I was out. You know, because I needed to get weed too. So like, I had to go to Queens to get some bud, and then I would just like smoke and walk around the neighborhood sometimes. And at the time, like my parents weren't retired yet, so like they would go to work still. So I'd be in the crib by myself with no friends to like have over, and I would just like literally just sit outside and just smoke. And I started reading more. I would write, you know, and then I started working in Long Island. And
Where did you work?
The Gap. I worked at the Gap.
Why did you say it like that, yo? She was like, it's nothing to be friend about.
It was like, you know, retail shit.
Retail
you know?
shit
I was at
whatever.
the Gap. Then I did some like dental assistant work. So once I started going to school in Long Island for a little while.
And that's when you were what age?
I was like 20.
Okay, so
21.
then you met your man, your ex.
Ma'am.
Your
Ma'am.
Ex. Yeah, ex.
Yeah, my daughter's father. Yeah, when I was young, in my early 20s.
She said yes, my daughter's
my
father.
daughter's father.
That we are no longer together.
I'm gonna show him this episode.
Yo, he's gonna crack.
I'm gonna be like, I shouted you out on this podcast. You should hear it.
Yo, I love it. No, but it's not like a love and basketball story.
No, I don't know. No, they ain't no love and basketball story at all. You know?
Were you a dental assistant? And he was like, "What's good, ma?"
Not basically. That's what had happened.
Aww.
He was like a bad boy, and I was like a good girl. But I like bad boys.
Of course.
But you know, yeah, and then that you know, we were together for a while, and when I got pregnant, I moved to Brooklyn, and I lived in Brooklyn for like 4.5 years, and then I moved back to Queens.
What made you like move back?
The apartment it was like a technical situation. The apartment I was in, my cousin was renting it to me, so she needed it back. She was moving back to Brooklyn. So we ended up moving back to Queens, me and my daughter's father. And I was there for a while. Like I've always gone back and forth between Queens, Long Island. Like I always go back to Queens. My heart is in Queens. I love it out there.
Do you know Ivy?
She
has this radio station out there.
Oh, you have put me on.
Yeah, Rah Zone. And she talks about WWE music.
Oh, that's so cool.
She's also located in Queens.
Oh, put me on.
I got you. I'll connect you with her. She's a media head like me.
I love that.
And you, right? Because we both interview a lot. And so she does the same thing. So it's like, I'll connect y'all together because she has like a studio out there in Queens.
Ew.
So y'all could just get acquainted and just do stuff. And she's an event coordinator.
I love that. You know,
I did media for her in one of her
did?
events because she asked me. She was like, hey.
Oh, we got to talk. We got to talk about that. I'm going to need some media. So we're going to talk. I be seeing you.
You know,
I be like, I need her to come do something like that with me.
That would be great. I love it.
Yeah.
Women needs to come together more, as we were talking about earlier.
That part.
But as far as like, yo, like you were 24, you were stepping into motherhood, like your whole life already before motherhood, you had like this inner child wounds there. So a lot of mothers and fathers talk about how when they become parents, it's like this, they can't explain it. It's like looking at their doppelganger and reliving it all over again, and then just trying not to repeat the mistakes that you were brought up with. So how was that transition?
I didn't know about any of that stuff when I first became a mom, because I was still trying to like figure out what the fuck any of this was. Like, it was just a moment of realization where like, oh shit, like, now I have to make sure this human being stays alive like longer than me. Like, that's a big responsibility. Like, I'm struggling to keep myself alive, you know, sometimes, you know, as a, you know, young person making stupid choices. So it's like, it was a crazy realization of like, now I'm responsible for another human being. And it wasn't until like it wasn't until I realized that I had to get out of the relationship that I was in because it wasn't healthy that I started realizing like, oh, I really need to do things differently than the way my parents did it. You know, not to say they were like bad parents, but like, it took me a long time to realize that our parents never had it figured out.
Yeah.
And we as young people, we put them on this pedestal like they know everything, and they really never did. They was trying to figure that shit out too.
Facts.
And like, it wasn't until like recently I realized like, yo, they didn't fucking have all the answers. And I really thought they did.
And there's some parents that get off on that. I just want to just stay
do.
right there.
They do.
Because there's some toxic parents that know that, and they literally get off on their children clinging on to them like that.
Thinking that they are the one
don't know it all.
Everything. No.
And it's like, it's okay to say that you don't. It's okay to say that you're figuring it out. It's okay to say, mom is not always right. But for some reason, toxic parents that have this like mental... or they're in denial, or they're narcissistic, right?
That, oh God, don't get me started.
Or the vulture moms, because in psychology, there's this vulture mom, you know, like, terminology. And I'm like, oh, what's a vulture mom? You know, like, I want to know now.
Like a vulture, vulture. Oh God, it's a tongue twister. It's a nursery rhyme.
So it's just like, how did you like prevent yourself from repeating that cycle? And
I've definitely done some toxic shit as a parent. But now I just I try to listen to my kids more. And I try to be more understanding of, I try to show them that I'm not perfect and that I make mistakes, and let them know that like, you know, you fuck up and you have to own up to your shit. I try to hold myself accountable when I know I may have like came at them the wrong way. But you know, I don't know. I just be myself. I'm myself with them. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, I'm not trying to be this like
authority.
Like, you're gonna listen and respect me, right? Because I'm older than you. I am your mom. You love me. I love you. You have to have this respect for me. But I'm also like a person. Like, I'm a human being, just like you. I cry. I get sad. I get frustrated. Yeah, you piss me the fuck off sometimes. Like, I want to karate chop your ass. But I love you because you're my babies. And, you know, like, so I'm just myself. They get to see me in the worst places, in my darkest times. And they get to see me shining. And
no love like that is replaceable.
Yeah, they'll at least, like, when I'm not here anymore, they'll turn around and be like, yo, one thing about my mom was she was always the real with me. She was always her 100% authentic self, and she worked hard. She was really worked hard for the things that she was passionate about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that almost made me cry.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because as a mom, that's how I would want to be looked at. Because I'm a Leo.
But it's hard.
Because it's like I don't want my children, if I ever were to, feel like they have to hide things from me. I want them to feel like they have this secret place with me. And at the same time, I also want to tell them, like, I want what's best for you, but I also want you to confide or feel like you don't have to hide things from me. Right. Especially if you're considering losing your virginity or things of that nature. Like, I want to be open enough to have a discussion with you where you don't hide it from me. Right.
I hope that, I have established some of that, but at the end of the day, I also know that there are also other people in my children's lives that my children trust and I trust. So that, like, even if they may not be able to confide in me, I know that, like, my daughter trusts her father, and my kids have different dads. My daughter is 17 and my son is 8. So they're 9 years apart, which is like a huge difference. But even like my daughter, my son's father was a part of her life for 6 years, 6 or 7 years. So he's still in her life as well. So like if she's in a place where she can't come to me or I'm not available for whatever reason, I know that like she has her dad and her, stepdad at one point, who's love her and are there for her.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she has so you have 2 children?
2 children.
For some reason, I thought you had 3.
Oh, girl.
I added the additional. I'm sorry.
The cat? Like, let's talk about the cat.
Okay, there we go. There was a cat.
There was a cat. That's my 3rd baby. That's my fur baby.
And, sometimes you be doing content with them, and I love it, like the mother and the house duty stuff. And I think it's important to see all that gush.
I do that. I show videos mostly of my son. I don't really post too much of my daughter. She's a teenager now, so she's like, ew, I don't want to be on your page and whatever, hater.
How old is she now?
17. Girl, I don't do the math. Don't do the math.
One of my boys, he has a 15-year-old, and she got a boyfriend.
Ugh, God.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to deal with that with your 17-year-old.
Not yet. Like, I know that she would tell me, like, because I'd be asking her all the time. I'd be like, you got a boyfriend? You got a girlfriend? You got a non-binary friend? Like, I'd be...
Right, because these days
I gotta cover all ground,
all angles. Don't play with.
You got an alien friend? Like, just tell me. Like, when she be like, "Oh, can I go to the park with my friends?" I'd be like, "Are you guys going to do drugs?" And she'll be like, "No," and I'm like, "Are you going to do drugs?" She's like, "No, I'm not going to do drugs." "Are your friends going to do drugs?" "I don't know," and I'm like, "Don't get into a car with nobody that's on drugs." She's like, "I know," like I trust her, like. She's a good kid. Like, she's a teenager as far as, like, the attitude and the messy room and, like, that stuff. The nonstop eating everything in the house. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, but other than that, like, I don't have to worry about what a lot of other parents have to worry about with their teenagers.
I agree.
And, like, she knows, like, that I smoke and stuff like that. So it's, like, I think she probably hates weed because I smoke, like,
yeah, it would be like
but
that.
I've always left it open. Like, if you ever have any questions about anything regarding, like, anything, I've always told her, if you ever in trouble and you need me to come get you and you're afraid that you're going to get in trouble, like, just call me. Like, I'll come get you. I won't ask any questions and we'll talk in the morning. Like,
is there like a song that you and her have together as mother and daughter?
Nah, we're not that freaking gaylord. Nah, we're not that mom and daughter like duo with like a song.
I'm gonna be real with you. There's always there's always like an album or a song that reminds you of your mother because she used to always play it. So like something like that. I feel like my mom was Brian McKnight. She used to always play him, and if not Joe.
How old is your mom? Like my age? What the hell? I listen to those guys.
She's like in her 60s. Her and I are like. No, she's in her 50s right now.
Okay.
But she was born in her 60s, like in the 69.
The 60s. Okay.
So she's almost there. But like, I just feel like my mom and I were not even that much age apart. Like she had all of us from 21 and to like 23.
Wow.
So it's just,
she had them young, get them out.
Yep.
Boom,
Boom,
bap, bap.
Pow.
And now you can enjoy your
40s.
your old age.
Yeah, she's literally enjoying her 40s, 50s, living it. I was like,
Right.
okay, I'm not mad because in her 40s, we were already in college.
Listen, kids are grown. Like, I love it. I love it.
So she would just literally like, she's like, oh, I love my Brian McKnight. Like, she's Puerto Rican, but I swear she was black and Dominican in the inside. Like, she was not Puerto Rican at all.
I mean, I listen to a lot of music, so like, I know there's a lot of different songs that my kids would be like, that reminds me of my mom. My son tells me all the time, you know every song. Like,
you're walking Shazam too?
Yo, dead ass. Like, everything that plays, he'd be like, how do you know this song? And I'm like, how do you not know this song? And he's like, ugh, he gets so annoyed. He's like, you know everything, all the songs.
So you like all genres. You're not picky.
Yeah, nah, I love it all. Like, music is a big influence in a lot of things, even for me as a poet, as a writer. Like, music plays a big part.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, like, would you say that the writing started right after you moved to Long Island, like that very first time, or was it at a very early point?
It was before that. To be real, like, I never really took time until recently to like really acknowledge the writer in me, like from a younger age. Because if you asked me a few years ago, oh, when did you start writing? I would have said, oh, I started writing poetry when I was like 16. I had a boyfriend. I wanted to express my love for him, so I wrote poems. But recently, I really was like thinking back, and I'm like, nah, I actually been a writer since before that. And I thought about a time when I was like, I think it was like 4th grade, and there was an essay contest about Martin Luther King. And I won the essay contest in 4th grade. Cool. And we got to go to eat chicken. Right? They took us to eat some fried chicken. It's ridiculous. I'll never forget that day. That chicken was so good.
She said, I won my essay.
I got eating my fried drumstick. So, like, but what's crazy is, like, when I won the contest, I don't remember writing the essay, right? I couldn't remember writing it. But it made me realize, like, recently thinking about that, like, damn, I've been writing. I actually been a good writer since I was young. I've been good with words, written word, since I was young. But it wasn't until high school when I was booed up. I had a man's, and I want to tell him how much I loved him.
You were on your Fantasia Chronicles.
You know what I'm saying?
She was on. I'll put your picture up.
No, I was more like, this is old before that. So I was like Brandy, like sitting up in my room. And I was like, yeah, the boy is mine. I can't sing, so don't ask me. I'm like, yeah. You do the singing part. Right. I'll rap. Oh, yeah.
We could be a poetry. Poetry too.
I like it.
I think we're on the side.
Don't tell nobody.
Right.
But yeah, that's when I really started writing in high school, right? A couple years before I moved. And, you know, when I moved, I started writing more. I started reading more.
Use it as a form of therapy in a sense?
I didn't know that that's what it was. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I feel like writing. But I didn't know that it was an outlet for me until, like, I got much older. And in my 30s was when I started to explore writing more, getting better. And
it's always in the 30s where we start.
It's that transformational age where you're like, when you hit your 30s, you're like, what the fuck do I want? What do I like? What makes me happy? Mm-hmm. Like, I've been living life through everybody else's
but
myself. Right. So that's when I was like, let me write a little bit more. And I felt really lost. At this point, I was in my second with my relationship with my son's father, and I felt like I lost myself. I literally lived life for this man, these children, and this
There's
job.
some people that feel like a man will answer it all, a relationship will answer it all. And that was that situation. Wow.
And it wasn't. There was still something missing. So I went on this journey to get on the stage. And I have been told in the past, like, oh, you know, you should perform, you should read your poetry on stage. And I was like, are you fucking crazy? Like, I want to throw up just thinking about it. My hands were getting sweaty just thinking about getting on stage. I was like, nah, no way. And then one day I was like, I want to host a poetry slam. Right? I don't know why I wanted to, out of nowhere. I want to host a poetry slam. Never performed
and that
before.
was like right in your 30s?
Yes. I was like, I just want to host a poetry slam. Never been to one. Never been on stage before. But I had done like event planning, like baby showers and stuff like that. So I had like organizational skills. I come from an HR background professionally. So I had a lot of like business mind. I had all of that. And I was creative. So I was like, I want to do a poetry slam. And then as I'm planning this poetry slam, I'm like, if I host a poetry slam, I probably should do a poem. I should probably do that. And then I was like, I should probably practice then. So that was like, all right, I'll go on stage. And I went to the Nyorican.
Perfect spot.
That was my first. I went by myself.
Nyorican Cafe, yes.
This poetry journey, I started it by myself. I did not bring my partner with me. I didn't bring a friend with me. I went to Nyorican by myself. And I performed for their open mic. They did at the end. I love this story. Aww. I went to Nyorican. It was their Friday night slam. And at the end of their Friday night slam, they have this like twilight open mic that's like really short. So I remember going to watch the slam first. And Queen Sheba, she's from Atlanta. She was their featured artist. And Mahogany Brown was their host for that night. And I remember sitting in the audience and I was looking at them and I was like, holy shit, I'll never be that good. Like, what the fuck did I just see? Like, I'd never seen spoken word like that before, other than like Def Jam poetry on television. Right. So I never saw it in person. And I was like, yo, I'll never be that good. This is crazy. Like, what am I doing here? This is crazy. But I still was like, I'm here. Let me get on the stage, get it over with. I have this event that I'm planning. I have to learn as much as I can about this so I could make a successful event. I did an awful. I read it from my phone. I was shaking. I speed read it because I was so nervous. I sound like the fucking Micro Machine guy. Like, that's my poem.
As an experienced poet would say now. But to be honest, like a regular person who hears it, they think that like reciting a poem is like reciting a speech. Unless you're like a poet, we're like, no, you gotta add some sounds. You gotta add
the body language. I'm an actor. Yes. In poetic form. There is a theatrical element to spoken word. Yes. That's the difference between spoken word and poetry. Mm-hmm. It's two different. Spoken word is a style of poetry, but spoken word has this theatrical layer to it, which I did not have my first time. I sounded more like a speed reader, and it was awful. But I did not let that stop me.
That's right.
I got back on another stage. I got back on another stage and another stage and another stage. And 8 years later, here I am. And now,
chills.
Oh God, me too. Here I am 8 years later, and I'm in the middle of curating, hosting, organizing one of my biggest showcases, where Mahogany Brown is featuring and Queen Sheba is hosting. Talk about full circle. And to add more circle to that, I am now the Wednesday night slam host at Nyorican on Wednesdays. So to be there in that space
that you started it all.
That I started it all, the first stage I ever stood on, to be there now as a host, to be there as like part of the team, to be working with the legends from there, like on my own platform. You know, it's like, if you would have told me I'd be there 8 years ago when I walked into that building, I would have been like, no way, you're crazy.
The wrong one.
You're crazy. Me? What? Hosting a showcase with 400 sold out seats? Get your tickets now. Link is in the bio.
I love it. Love that transition as a promoter. Go ahead.
But like, if you would have been like, yes, you're going to sell out 400 seats and you're going to curate one of the biggest showcases, you know, of the year, I would have been like, get out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. Me?
I'm so happy for you. Yeah.
I can't even memorize a poem.
And this is something that you did for yourself. You are already a woman, a mother. So it's like, you're the literal epiphany of like, it's never too late.
Never.
There's so many boundaries and so many doubts that we put on ourselves in front of our passions, in front of our dreams. So like, what do you have to tell to the person that is going through that? Like, they have 4 or 5 forks in the road, but parenting seems to be the wheel that overtakes that.
Right. The thing is that you have to learn that you cannot do it by yourself. You need your tribe. So it's as hard as it is because it's hard when you don't have someone to watch your kids for you. Like, that is a big difference for me. Like, I still have my parents here. My children's fathers are in their life. So if I need them to watch the kids, you know, they can. You know, I have my best friend. She's like my sister. She will watch my kids if I need them to. Like, you have to build a tribe and have people that you can trust with your children so that you can, and people that really like believe in your journey. Now, if you don't have anybody, then you have to understand that there's 24 hours in the day, and you have the ability to account for each and every minute of that day. So, balance your time out so that you're able to do some of these things for yourself when you have free time. You know, make the best of your time, because if you don't do something for yourself, you're gonna get lost, and you can't live. Like, I hate when people are like, I live for you, I live for this, and
or I live for my
I live for this. It's like, no, you gotta live for yourself first, because if you can't live for yourself, then you can't live for anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I wasn't a good version of myself when I was lost. You know, the times that I've been in dark places, that's not the version of myself that I deserve. It's not the version of myself that my children deserve, or that, you know, my community deserve. So try your best to make your time. Like,
and through those dark places, like, and those dark experiences and those painful experiences, even though we went through them, just know that doesn't have to define where you're going.
Absolutely not. Look, listen, like Nike, just fucking do it. All right. Seriously. Like, stop making excuses. Stop blaming other people for Mom, this Dad, and that cousin. And this person. Stop blaming your pockets for why you're not doing certain things. Find a way to do it.
Even your sexual assaulter. I just have to say that.
Right.
Because a lot of people literally live in that victim mind ever since. And it's hard.
What it is the trauma is really hard for people to process and get through, right?
Right.
But don't allow trauma to stop you. You can process trauma and also try to heal at the same time.
Correct.
You know, be kind to yourself, but also hold yourself accountable. Like, stop making excuses. You want to accomplish something, it's possible. Just fucking do it and be consistent. Like, that's, for me, has been my saving grace in everything that I do. I have continued to stay consistent. Like, I don't let nothing stop me. I don't let nobody get in my way. I allow people to say no to me, and that's okay, because that just basically, it's like it
eliminates
a
bump in the road.
Right. Like, this isn't meant for me right now. Let me turn. It's a detour to where I need to go. It gives me a little detour. All right, let me go around.
And to the right people, you should be surrounding yourself with the right people that are going to get you somewhere, that's not going to hold you back or make you turn another way. Right. Or
wrong intentions. Like, not all money's good money, you know. But yeah, I would tell anybody who's like out here struggling and not is scared to take that chance, like, just go, jump off the fucking cliff and do it. Because it's better for you to do it and see that maybe it's not meant for you, or it's not, it's not what you wanted, than you never to try and never find out.
Living trapped in a life that you think you always wanted, but you're not satisfied and you can't seem to get out.
Right.
It's like a mental imprisonment. Honestly.
Right. We're groomed to like it's crazy that people have to find themselves when they're in their 30s or like in their 40s, when we really should be taking that time to find ourselves when we like get out of high school. Like, we get forced to like go to pick a career, to spend all these years, money, energy on earning these degrees in these industries that later on we're like, I don't fucking like this shit. And it's like, I'm a big believer that like at 17, like, how the fuck do you know what you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
So we don't take time. Like, those of you that have young children, like, encourage your children to explore things that they love at an early age. That way, like, when is time for them to decide their higher learning, they have a good idea of like what their interests actually are, what their passions are. So like, encourage them, and if it's never too late for you to do that too.
Yeah, I love that. I like that advice. Look at you dropping shit.
I be trying.
No. She's the writer.
I should have put my glasses on for this.
Do you have a book or anything of that nature that the audience could like listen, or like a drop or something?
So I do have a journal of writing prompts for all types of writers, songwriters, playwriters, poets, whatever you want. We are going to be releasing 2 more versions of the journal as well. And me and my co-creator, Leah V. Shout out to my girl, Leah V. I will be dropping a poetry album this year, along with a chapbook to go along with it. I'm not sure when it will be, but it is going to be this year. So just follow me on social media and stay tuned.
Look forward to that.
Yeah,
that's gonna be great.
Yes,
there's gonna be also events happening this year. You can have water too.
Oh yeah.
Sure. She's like, sure,
I'll take that. I'll have a sip. Yeah, I have a whole lot of events. Right now we are hosting a monthly open mic in Brooklyn. Every second Friday. There's also a virtual open mic that we still do. It's been 3 years. We started it in the pandemic. My homegirl Leah V, and we still do it once a month now, every third Friday. And really, the big boy of the year is my Legends showcase. It's a huge showcase that's happening in Queens at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center. And it is the biggest show I've curated. I will be featured. Thank you. This is like, I am obsessed with this event. Like, I'm dreaming about it. It's crazy. I'm going to be featuring Mahogany Brown, Obi West, Maui the writer, Prentice Powell. It's going to be hosted by Queen Sheba. And if you know poetry, you know those names. If you don't know poetry, you need to know those names. Because these people are up there. There's a reason why they're on this lineup. It's called the Legends lineup. The Legends Showcase. It's going to be an annual event that I'm going to be doing. And yeah, you can follow me at My Crumble Thoughts on Instagram. That's usually where I be at. And that's where you'll find everything. The link is always in the bio.
I love that plug-in. Yes. And she's always active, so there's never going to be an issue. Even counseling or consultant work.
Yeah, I do some of that. I do it's more for social media management and marketing. Correct. So people that are trying to figure out how to brand themselves and use social media as a tool to grow. I do one-on-one coaching. I'm going to have a bunch of workshops rolling out this summer on writing, performing, and even curating and hosting workshops, because let me tell y'all something. I've been going to some of these events and I'm tired of y'all, some of y'all curators and hosts.
They don't have any purpose or
Like, I don't know what y'all doing. Y'all so disorganized in so many ways. And like,
just be putting people together.
It's just a hot mess. So if you, are looking to curate and host events and trying to do this at like a really elevated level, I will be doing workshops on how to like teach people how to do this and turn this into a living. Like, it took a while for me to get to where I'm at now, where like I can actually like provide for my family as well as provide for the community. But for a lot, it was like the events were barely paying for themselves. I was coming out of pocket a lot, but it was all for the community, to pay my features, to pay DJs, to pay, all this other people. Now it's like everyone can get paid, and so I can get paid too. I can put some food on the table,
That's amazing.
And that's important, because as much as my purpose is to provide for the community, I still have a family to feed.
Right.
And it's like, my kids can't go hungry just so that you can have a stage to be on. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I wanted you to come on, because I know, you're activist, poet, event coordinator, like you're out here, mom. There's so many mothers that I know that's put their dreams aside because of mothering.
Oh God.
And you were in stages of that in your life. It's not like you weren't,
Right.
It's just, the whole point is that you just was like, enough is enough. I'm tired of living for everyone else, and I want to live for myself, and I want my life back.
Right.
And there's something so empowering about that. That's why I'm literally, thank you for coming on. Like, two Leos, like, of course we're gonna drop some gems, you know what I'm saying? And now after that, loaded gem. Shit. We're gonna just play some music. I'm gonna show like one or two artists. Then J.Rose, she kind of like showed 2 or 3, 4 artists. Some of them are poets, some of them are artists. So we're just gonna show them, and these are people that we want to recommend,
Yes, tap in.
People that are purposeful with what they do and what they're passionate about, and there's messages behind these songs and these poems, and and then after that we'll just let you guys go.
I love it.
Oh my god. So this one is Brandon V. This is my first time listening to this guy. I saw him on IG. It says Grow in Love. I said, okay, cool, it sounds like impactful and cultivate-ish. So and I also like the instrumental, so like, here you guys go.
Let's hear it.
Never felt like this before, okay. Always felt like a tug of war, both ways. Can't receive what I gave them all today. Reason why I just made it fall, no shame. Dead flowers never told me giving up your power to someone else. Spending all my hours losing who I am, and yes, I just fell in love. But I never wanna do that no more, cause you touch parts of me that grow life inside my core. Meaning me for the first time, feeling like a sort of line divine. In the meantime, come together like a minute peace signs, oh yeah. Let's grow and let go of concepts that make it this simple. Awaken the best of me, taking can easily be anybody, but you just give it equally. And that is so new for me, how you spread the many seeds of a healthy love, and now it's blooming on inside of me like, hey, divine lover, don't you change for another. I know falling in love hasn't been kind to you. Energy calling to try something new, so let's grow in love, grow in love. I don't ever need nothing else, won't you? Grow in love, grow in love. It feels different when you are in love. Now let me break it down for you. There's nothing that you wouldn't do to take the person loving you and put them on a pedestal, and that could leave you so confusing. You confronted with the truth and realizing love ain't a substitute for self-worth. So hurt, haven't been putting yourself first. You can only meet yourself in another. The level you own is the level they give you. So level up, how we gon' set it up? Effortless, limitless, how it all come from this love ain't limitless. Let go of bitterness, see me for who I am, not who you think I is. Let's grow and let go of concepts that make it less simple. Awaken the rest of me, taking can easily be anybody, but you just give it equally. Hey, divine lover, don't you change for another. I know falling in love hasn't been kind to you. Energy calling to try something new, so let's grow in love, grow in love. I don't ever need nothing else, won't you? Grow in love, grow in love. If it's different when you are in love. I just want
I didn't even align that purposefully, you know?
Yeah, we didn't even know what we were going to talk about.
But grow in love is like, first of all, he's out here doing this healing ritual.
Yeah, he's doing like Reiki on her. That's so dope.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah.
And like he was talking about self-worth, growing in your self-love.
Oh my gosh.
And just putting yourself first.
Right.
Like,
the visuals were so like loving too. It made me like, I was like, I want my boo to be like that.
Right, with the family right behind him.
You know what I'm saying? Like pillow fighting and shit. Like, come on.
All right, Branson V. We see
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Thumbs up.
Next up, we got Dreamcast McFly. He went live
Hey, that's my guy. Yeah, I know him.
Look at us, we so aligned.
Yeah.
But so he was on Mad Nice TV, and it's like this channel that only has 200 subscribers, so you guys should subscribe.
Yes, they need more.
Right,
they have
because
so much great content.
They really
there.
do. I'm glad you know it.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. So here we go. Let's see what we got.
Oh no, yo, my ego feeling kinda big. Like a nigga with no swag and all designer fit. My mama made me mad, I know she had that fire wrist. Cause your son is dope, yeah I know, he a narcissist. Whoa, never that, just alert of my worth. Worth on this earth isn't done, so just hold out the hearse. Might thriller, might killer, better run them jewels, or they leave you out back like a Subaru. I'm on a different mode, different view. Hit the ball, let his crew at Supreme like she go to get to schools. Whoa, Berkeley on the hand, your ass a scholarship. Educated and you know how to do it on a split. Multi-talented, man, that sound familiar. Half and half, rapping, ain't nobody illa. They couldn't figure out how we came a figure. Fresh Prince of my city, cause I be that jicky nigga and we gone. Off the Henny, off the Rennie, off the Tron. I know that Kenny gon' get me in the zone. I know that Zenny gon' lash it to the moon. Girl, go and drop them pennies. See the carbon fiber frames and she wanna ride my face. Baby, just don't leave those stains on this Alexander Wang. That's one hell of a dry cleaning bill for you to pay for. Secure the payload, ayy, bring the pesos. I'm so thankful for all my queso. My nudes are tasteful, but they stand on the same phone. Ain't no MTO, TMZ, expose. Let's just pay, just make sure that you edit out my face and we gone. Off the honey, off the money, off the troll. I know that Kenny gon' get me in the zone. I know that Zenny gon' lash it to the moon. Girl, go and drop them pennies to the floor.
Okay. Okay. I can hear that like in the club.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Oh, that's my guy, Descendent.
Yes. So we have now the lineup. J.Rose shot it out now. I'm super excited.
This
so
is my boy right here. Yo,
she said that this is her song.
Yo, let me tell you, it's so hard for him and I to support each other's events because we always got something on the same day. And I hit him up the other day, was like, yo, October 22nd, yo, pull up, you gotta be there. He was like, yo, I'm planning an event that day. I was like, bro.
But the love is there, the intention.
But yes.
The intention is there.
It's great. It's like, listen, we may catch each other or not, but I'm still here to like see you and support you as
all the
however I can.
Right.
So
let's go ahead. This is called Out of My Face. And how did you know about this song? Did he perform it? Oh no, he couldn't have because
well, no, I mean I follow him, just because I don't get to see him perform often. He drops music all the time, and I listen to it.
And you a real one?
Yeah, I put it on my playlist and stuff like that, and I have a playlist for all my friends and their music, and I let it play like sometimes while I'm working or at night when I go to sleep, just so it could like keep playing over and over again.
And this one you played for like. Is it like an upfill song? Or
it's like out of my face.
Alright, so let's check you out, Descendent.
And his content, like on social media, is hilarious too. He's
funny. Every time they come around, all you hear is get lost, not found. This is ludicrous. Move. See your face and they mood switch. Got you losing your cool quick. Get lost, you are not missed. Think, use your common sense. Always trying to holla. Always begging for dollars. Make moves, trying to follow. I don't want no drama, partner. In my face, breath hotter than the sauna lava. Thinking to myself, who raised you? Where's your mama? She need to come get her child. Need more work and your energy is foul. Bent out of shape, mouth 100 miles. So tired of fighting, throwing the towel. Just because we in the same place don't mean you can come my way. Make women feel so unsafe. My homes look at you with disgrace. Out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Get the out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Get the out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Get the out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. Hey, but wait, somebody tell you the truth and you call that hate. We trying to keep the peace and you instigate. Trying to keep it a band but you steady faking. Show a praying hands but you move like Satan. Look, I got no time to be petty. Doing too much like Teddy, never ready. Cut you off, no need, no machete. Game over, hold the confetti. Think you we cool? Nah, that's deadly. Let you go that way, it's so deadly. Delirious, your name is not Eddie. I'ma do me, gotta move steady. So, I don't have time of the day to hear what you gotta say. No, I don't wanna play. Make moves, give you grace. If I see you today, that may cause a melee. Please, out of my way, get the fuck on my face. Out of my face. Out of my face. Out of my face, get the out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, get the out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, get the hell out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, out of my face, get the fuck up out of my face, out of my face, get out of my face. Your energy is dry and boring. Out of my face, get out of my face. Everything about you so annoying. Get out of my face. Crop you out to pick. Why you posting? Out of my face. Get out of my face. See you approaching and we ghosting. Get out of my face. Your energy is dry and boring. Get out of my face. Everything about you so annoying. Get out of my face. Crop you out to pick. Why you posting? Get out of my face. See you approaching and we ghosting.
Jamaica Center. Right. Oh no, it's Javits Center. Okay.
Saw Central Park signs. I was like, okay, you out here. This girl looked like she was like, am I in the shot?
Yo, I like the guy sat right next to him. He had a whole other seat he could have sat at. He sat
right next to him talking about, hey,
I can't breathe.
I can relate.
He was like, BX. That's such a good video.
But yeah, okay, Descendant, I see you, you know.
Yeah.
I like the beat.
He's always, you know, his content is great. And he does a lot of shows with like a live band. So he performs with a live band a lot of times. Yeah, he puts on a
we're going to have to get acquainted with that one.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta get him out here.
Next up, Janique?
Janique. Oh, that's my girl right there. She's an amazing singer, rapper.
Yes. Is she also a writer or no?
Yeah, she writes her own stuff. I've known her since I first started hosting open mics. So I've known her for about 7 years now. And she is amazing. I've watched her go from like 5,000 followers to 105,000 followers and dropping albums and doing solo shows, like selling out solo shows. Like, she is amazing. She's done music with Tory Lanez and stuff like that. Like, Janique is out here killing it. Super creative. And like, what I love about her is that, you know, she's like such a sweetheart. Like she be rapping and she be like talking her shit, like some real like tough like girls, you know, like, but then like she's such a sweet girl. Like,
it's her alter ego. It's the message that she wants to uplift and put out, and I like that. I like when artists are like that.
Oh, she's such a sweetheart.
So let's check her out. This one is called Harley. Right?
Harley. Oh yes.
So like, it's giving me Harley Quinn vibes.
It's definitely Harley Quinn vibes.
Put him on a trial, make him wait for that. Ting too pretty and clean, one hell of a cat. If he showing out, I'ma throw it back. Telling me to calm that kitty down, I give it a pat. Ride it like a blood clot, yardie. In it, smooth start like a Harley. The ting set good, I'm sorry. Big man, I feel last long, but they hard. He a goofball class clown, but he studying the cookie. I ain't got it, dumb it down. He eating it for dinner, I ain't cooking. 5-course meal right here, good looking. I be on the wall, I be on the bed. I be in my house, but really be on his head. He be killing quick, so you know the kitty dead. He gon' hobble to the sink, lost the feeling in his leg. Wait, ride it like a blood clot, yardie. In it, smooth start like a Harley. The ting set good, I'm sorry. Big man, I feel last long, but they hard. Ride it like a blood clot, yardie. In it, smooth start like a Harley. The ting set good, I'm sorry. Big man, I feel last long, but they hardly. I ain't gotta tell you that my shit is good. You know that he been here for a minute and I never cook. You know that he faithful as a bishop, treat him like a rug. You know he be spelling all them letters like he writing books. I ain't gotta tell you that he hitting good. No, you see me right next to my nigga, giving him the love. No, we keep it clean when we in public, keep the dirt off. Home when we inside, this nigga ripping my shirt off. Gotta keep him busy, a quickie, and then we skirt off. Gotta keep him with me, you niggas my biggest turn off. And he like it wet, it get sticky, can't leave the marks, ain't no hickey. These bitches bad, yeah, they pretty, but he want me, baby, picky. I know that he like it when I ride. I be saying slick shit while he deep inside. He just say the word and my shit on slip and slide. Happy birthday, you the greatest of all time. Ride it like a blood clot, yardie. In it, smooth start like a Harley. The ting set good, I'm sorry. Big man, I feel last long, but they hardly. Ride it like a blood clot, yardie. In it, smooth start like a Harley. The ting set good, I'm sorry. Big man, I feel last long, but they hardly.
I like the flow. It's a bop.
Yes, she's Jamaican, so she be throwing out the little patois like accent.
It's a bop.
Yeah, she be out here doing it.
There's this other artist that I know. There's 2 artists that I know from New York that I just currently like touched down with. I'll show you them off at the show.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, yo, like I gotta find them.
Let me know. I might know them.
Cause I feel like you know them. I feel like
do.
Cause you're that acquainted.
I know a lot of.
So over here we have a poet that you wanted to recommend.
Yeah, Poetic Boy D. He actually does music as well. He raps and he does poetry. He's a heavy hitter in the poetry scene. He's got so much stuff.
He has an EP, Always Trying the Best. He has another album called All Because of You, and it's giving me It's giving me Neo.
Neo, all because of you. No, definitely not Neo
But
on
it's
there.
definitely not. I know.
Yeah, it's he's he's a storyteller in a lot of his poetry and his music. He creates the setting, these characters, and he takes you like on this journey where you could like almost like visualize it like a movie. He's really good at putting words together in that way.
Interesting. So let's see which one.
Just pick whatever is on there.
We're just gonna pick.
I like Cab Ride. The Cab Ride is good.
Where's that at?
The third one.
Oh, the Cab Ride.
Yeah.
Let's do that. This is the Cab Ride, Poetic Boy D on Spotify. You probably could find it.
Oh, come on, Spotify.
Come on,
don't do
Spotify.
that. Don't be like
Don't
that.
be like that. But it's all right. I'm gonna log in. You doing the most.
Always. Might be acting up too. You might be able to find it on YouTube. Yay. Don't be like that.
It's 12 o'clock. How are you, sir? I'm headed to the towers, emotional right now. And I know it's after hours. I know that that's the last thing you'd want to hear from a man, but I'm really intoxicated. So I hope you understand. And I only paid $7 for this ride. It's raining, so my tears are much easier to hide. Amazing, you ain't judging me, you allowing me to cry. Why? Why am I feeling so empty deep down inside? Damn. And you don't even know who I am. And I'm talking to you more than I talk to my closest friends. I'm talking to you now, but are you really listening? I'm talking to you, but I'll never vent like this again. Whoa, excuse me, sir. Please take this left. Damn, you just passed it. Sir, are you deaf? And while we're on this topic, do you fear death? Did that make you uncomfortable? Was the answer truly yes? Well, I guess that means we got some things in common. Do you have some water? Cause I feel my heart throbbing. Wait. Okay, let me put on my seatbelt. I know you didn't expect this, but I hope you know I mean well. And do you have an Instagram to follow? I'm way past drunk and I won't remember you tomorrow. Cause I've been drinking all of this amnesia from this bottle. I took some shots of truth and you know that be hard to swallow. And now you looking at me like a lab rat, as if I'm different and you wish that you could have your cab back. Hold on, I think I got a message on Snapchat. Scratch that, I'll check it tomorrow when I snap back to who I am, to who I want to be, to the person that I really want everyone to see, to the person that ain't slurring on his words like I am now, to the sober one that be up on them stages rocking crowds. Slow down, please. Don't run that red light. Don't rush to get me home. Don't rush to end my night. Cause I get angry when I drink and I don't wanna fight. I know you missed that left, but I promise it's alright, alright. And now we almost at my destination. And in your mind, I guess that means it's time for celebration. I'm thanking you for listening to all of my complaining, cause I know you didn't think we'd end up in this situation. But you get 5 stars for this trip. I Uber everywhere, but thank you for this lift. Got both signs in your window, I am too drunk for this. I didn't notice it till now, and now I feel so sick. But this is my building right here. Please park your car, don't change your gear. Please don't drive off until the coast is clear, until you know I'm good and I'm no longer near. Cause not many people really pay attention to the drunk guy. They side eye and block him out their vision. But you're a good guy, that's real kind. That's something I will mention when I talk about this in the future, cause I'll never forget it. So please proceed to have a good night. Don't miss no more lefts, don't run no more lights. Do the speed limit and get home safe, cause you might be the reason that I see another day. I say, please proceed to have a good night. Don't miss no more lefts, don't run no more lights. Do the speed limit and get home safe, cause you might be the reason that I see another day. Thanks. I like the
instruments in the back. But I've always been the sucker for that because I went to a performing arts high school. And
you
so
extra.
I've been there, yes. Dance, drama.
Yes.
Even the poetry department, the writing department was called communication arts. And like the communication arts department, like, let me tell you.
It's you sitting back comfortably to tell this part. That's what has me like.
Literally, they got creative with their poetry reciting. I was like, oh, we got the instrumental department with this. Like, they were like popping sounds, and then someone would be like,
not the rain, with the rice. The rice.
I felt horse galloping, and then you hear horse galloping.
Oh, that's theatrical.
It's
see,
like, okay, like I was with it. So when you said that, I was like, yes, let them know, because people don't know that they could just be that way and just elevate.
I love performing with bands. Like I love doing poetry with like a live band. That is my favorite way to do a show.
Exactly.
Like, I love that shit. So much fun.
And she was literally just reposted on Voices in Power.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, before Voices in Power, I was like, yo, I got to get this girl on the show. Like, it wasn't even like, I want you to know that. Like,
I know,
like,
we always be like, hey.
We always be like, hey, what's going on? I see you.
I see you too.
And then we're going to come together. We don't know when. I was like, we're going to see each other in an event, maybe.
Yeah, one day.
And like, you know, all the people I know, you know, it was like, granted, we're going to get there, but I just never knew when. So this is great. Here it is. Did you want to recite your poem?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot before we go, you know.
Yeah, I'll do a poem. Okay.
Did you want me to like add any sounds?
No. Now she wants to do the instrumentals. She's excited.
I'm excited.
Yes, please get the galloping horse.
So which piece you're going to do, and tell us why you wanted, where were you when you wrote it, and what it means to you.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, you know what? It's Mental Health Awareness Month, so I will do my piece on mental health.
I like that.
When I wrote the poem, I was in a very good place, in a very good space, and I wrote the poem with the intentions of basically, it came from a conversation, the idea, which usually that's what happens. And it was a conversation about being a poet or being a good writer and having the ability to write through a lot of trauma. But what people don't understand is like, don't hurt my feelings just because I'm a poet and I can write myself through that. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, be careful with us as writers, as poets, because just because we can write about trauma and to process it, it still hurts to write about it. So I was in a really good place when I wrote the poem. It came from a place of like, oh my God, let me write this poem about all this trauma that I've healed from and empower people with my inspiring words. And then I started writing the poem and I was like, why does this shit still hurt? Like, fuck, I'm not as healed as I thought I was from a lot of this. And it took me 3 months to write this poem. Yes, and like another 2 months to memorize it. And the first few times that I performed it, I cried on stage. People cry sometimes still, like in the audience. They get really emotional.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna get
Don't
emotional.
Don't do it.
Okay, I won't. I'll try.
Don't do it. But yes, the poem, the title of this poem is the title is This is a Poem I Haven't Thought About Writing Yet. Okay. All right. This is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet. I say that because to think of the words I'd write would require me to unzip the scars from my wrists and untwist the lies from my lips when I said I'm okay. I'd have to watch every regret drip slowly from reopened wounds I'd rather forget. How I wish they bled shooting stars instead of the ink I'd use to write myself to death and name my pen suicide. Dying by way of punctuation from slicing commas off of semicolons to end my life sentence like a period. What's a poetic way to go? This is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet. To fathom these words, I'd have to resurrect phantoms from forgotten forevers. Shadow box with my darkest truths. Get dirt under my nails, digging for my deepest roots. Invalidate the self-validation it took me over 30 years to pursue. I'd have to become an alchemist of self-esteem, breaking down this confidence into manipulation so that I can feel guilt again. Have my dignity on tilt again. Let my garden wilt again. I'd have to remember how self-loathing mocked me in my own mirror, mimicking me maliciously when all I wanted was to be seen. I mean, that's why I looked in the first place. But instead of being met with warm eyes and a bright smile, the first thing I saw was disgrace, followed by disappointment, topped off by who the fuck am I to think anyone gives 15 seconds of fucks about the stories that last more than 24 hours. When life is viewed through portrait mode and I never seem to fit that frame. This is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet. To get this shit out, I'd have to board domestic flights to states of violence, only to escape and end up nestled under neglect like a vow of silence. To pen these planes, I'd have to depart from denial and ascend to acceptance, land in terminals of truth and let the baggage claim my existence. I keep filling up these suitcases with shit I don't even use at home, feeling like shit. I don't really have a home because I don't remember the last place I left that piece of my heart at. Maybe it dripped from the tears I cried the last day I wanted to die, or maybe it's in the hands of the man that dangled dreams of marriage, never proposing with those carrots. How I wish it was still stitched to my sleeve so I could stop fake believing in love and just fucking be. This is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet. To get this deep, I'd have to drown in rivers like I bay, sacrifice my life to give life like I'm bait. Pour every sharp edge of my shattered shame like scatter showers of splatter blame, like it was my fault misogyny offered me monogamy. Like I wanted it even though I said I didn't. Like I wanted it even though I said I didn't. Like I wanted it even though I said I didn't. I guess my nervous laughs translated my no's into yeses, or maybe I gave in because of my untreated coping methods, feeling worthless with every touch, hating every second, trying to survive in my mind just to find my faults in the wreckage, where chapters of my crumbled thoughts lay buried under a self-sabotaging tomb. Body once a mausoleum for the souls of men who never even worshipped the womb. This is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet. To write this poem, I'd had to chameleon blend into my poor decisions until I stopped dreaming and broken. Wake up in time to FaceTime raw realities like they don't really love me. They just love how my art makes them feel. And these men don't really want me. They just love how my heart helps them heal. And this pain isn't trapped. I'm just addicted to how real it makes me feel. See, to write this poem, I had to pour too much darkness onto these pages, conjure demons onto these stages, when all I want to do is erase them like eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Take these memories and fuck a rewind. I'm sorry. Not every poem has a happy ending. To write this poem, I had to stop pretending like shit doesn't hurt for more than 4 seasons, like these scars aren't here for a reason. So when I say to you, this is a poem I haven't thought about writing yet, please understand. I'm just keeping my scars zipped so these stories stay clipped like weeds in my garden. Thank you.
Yes! You did that.
Thank you so much.
I had
Thank
chills.
You. I know. I was getting goosebumps too. Like,
Wow. Yes. I have so many analogies, so many metaphors. Oh gosh,
so many things I address in that poem. It was a hard poem to get through. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you for sharing your stories and your experiences. Thank you. Like somebody said this to me, in like a show, and she's like, "I'm not a survivor. I'm a conqueror." Right? It's like people live on this survival wound, and they like bed in it, and it's like I conjured it, like I conquered. Right. It doesn't have to be bought. It's an example. It's there, and it's my story, and it's my stamp. It's what makes me me. Right. And no one's gonna take that from you. That's right. That's what you're leaving here, girl.
I feel like it's part of my story. It lets people feel like they're not alone. Like you're not. We all have experienced trauma. It's not always easy. So yeah, that poem, it means a lot to me, you know. It's my longest poem. I never thought I'd memorize something that long ever in my life. It was like, what? It took such a really long time to write because there were times where like I would remember the things that I'm writing about and that pain would surface.
Yeah.
And it made me realize how a lot of people, especially artists, creative people, listen to me. They are too comfortable in sitting in their trauma wounds, like you said, right? And I feel like a lot of creatives are afraid to fully heal or to even tend to those wounds, like properly.
Yeah.
Because that's where we draw a lot of our inspiration to create. And don't depend on your trauma. Don't let your creativity depend on your trauma because you have to heal. And you are still creative, you know, once those wounds are healed. It's like we constantly are picking back at those scabs and like digging back into those wounds so that we could feel what it felt like.
You're going to make me cry.
So that we can write about it, you know, or create from it.
I feel like that's what's been my journey.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. No, like, I want to start writing like my stories and my experiences without, like you said, like I know that there's so much in my pain.
I know
that I can impact the masses on in a song, but I just be like, I'm not ready to go there.
Yo, talking about the shit that hurts your feelings fucking sucks.
Because you have to revisit that. And like, I've seen it. It's like a shattered piece where you see it not just in one incident, but like in multiple.
Right. Because now you're looking at it from hindsight. So all the things that you didn't notice when you were in the shit.
You numbed yourself
from. Absolutely. Now, in hindsight, you can see all those things. So when it's time for you to, and that's what happened to me. I thought I had healed from a lot of those experiences that I talked about. But then writing about them, it brought back other memories.
That you thought weren't a big deal, but they were. And that's That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been stopping in the process. Like,
I'll be honest though, like writing that poem was super empowering afterwards. I feel like for the first couple of months, I would say the first 10 times that I performed that poem on stage, every time I did it, it felt like I was releasing more, like to the point where like it felt good to do that poem on stage. Like on days that I was like sad and I went through like a phase of depression around November, like I found myself going to that poem to recite it to release some of the pain that I was going through at that time. So that poem has now for me become like an outlet for when I am going through something. I can release it through that poem. Even if it's not related to anything that I talk about in the poem is now like a conductor for that, like an outlet for that. And I see the way it impacts people. Like, you know, people cry in the audience while I'm doing this poem. Like, I did this poem in front of high schoolers last week, and one of the girls was like, I was like, so what you guys think? And one girl was like, I want to cry. I feel like crying right now. Like, yeah. And I'm like, oh,
that's the impact that you have.
Yeah. But you gotta just get through it, girl. Right through it. And I tell people this all the time. Like, even if it doesn't turn into a song or something that you share with people, like, maybe it's just necessary for you.
Yeah, I've been starting to write. I'm actually in the process of writing a book. So it's like one of those things that I've been going through. I'm like, I've been writing and then I tear and I cry and I'm like, wow.
Right. Do you ever are you ever afraid of like when you're writing about a certain situation, like because you're going to publish this, right? Are you afraid that the people that those stories are about are going to question you, or like, is that something that you think about?
It is something that I think about often.
Right.
And also like, I don't know, like I want to be able to impact the masses through my experiences in my life.
Right.
But at the same time, there's this shame that I need to get over. And I think that I'm teetering.
Of like having gone through those things, or maybe
putting
foolish,
all out on display.
Oh, like putting your business.
everyone to listen. Like, there's so many songs that I have experiences personally on, like SZA with The Weeknd.
Right.
Like, I was like, wow, when I first heard those lyrics, I was like, she's so bold for putting this on paper.
Right.
And I relate to each word. Like, I experienced this. And
Right.
that's what I want to kind of do with my music. But then I'm like, I have the shame.
Why don't you try to write it in like third person, or like if you're writing about someone else, you know, I think
I try it that way.
or if you're writing about the listener, like instead of using me and I's, use her and she or they, or you can use you and put it in either third or second person. I think that sometimes helps me with taking myself out, but I'm really writing about my experiences. But when you start telling it as if you're telling somebody else's story, it starts becoming a little bit like, I guess for me, I feel like it's a little bit easier, you know, and then you can change it to me and when it's time for you to tell it definitely make it yours.
Because I definitely see myself coming out with like an empowerment song, like a self-worth, pick up like yourself in the boost of transformational kind of song. And then in a sense, I also see myself talking about my battles on self-worth as well, and finding that and then getting to that
beautiful. Journey. And you shouldn't be ashamed of your journey. Thank because, you know, like nobody has it figured out in the beginning. So, you know, your story can help somebody else as well. Like,
that's the key word right there.
You know, how many times you said it yourself? You heard songs and you're like, wow, they're singing about my life. I feel like that about Jessie Reyes. Like, how she's so young and she's like writing about my entire life. It's crazy.
Yeah, Jessie Reyes.
Yo, she be on it.
Jessie J too, like Big White Room. I hear songs like that. I hear songs like Lost One by Jasmine Sullivan.
Yes.
Girl had me on my knees in that song. Like, I was in the altar call. I was like, what are we doing here, Jasmine? Okay.
Oh, gosh. For me, I with my project that I'm working on, I'm afraid of, like, I have some poems that are going to go on this project that address, like, my relationship with my parents and, like, my dad especially. And I'm kind of like he doesn't know anything. He doesn't care about anything that I do, like, creatively. He doesn't never listen to any of my poetry, never never told me he's proud of me or anything like that. But I feel like the minute I put this project out, he's gonna hear it and then be like, me? You're talking about me like this? Like, I'm, you know, like, why you painted me in such a, like, bad picture? So I am nervous about that, but
you're still gonna
in a sense, it's like, this is my story. This is how I experience you in my life. And, you know, you may have had a different experience or a different idea of what you think my life was like, but no, this is it. This is my truth. And I have to keep pushing myself not to, like, make sure I put those pieces on that project, despite, you know, what I think, you know, he may say, or like his family, if they, you know, people, like, listen, family, in my opinion, like, they only support when they see it's cool to support you.
Correct.
So it's like,
along the journey, it's going to be you, yourself, and I. It's not going to be anybody but that. Right. And people who don't know you, but they're like, they fucks with you. They see you. Right. They see your passion. They see what you're doing. They see the impact. Those are going to be the first ones. And then your family going to come, like, when the success is already built. When it's there,
they're going to be like, oh my God.
Like,
I remember you used to do those poems and no.
Right.
I did not.
You're going to be on All Def Jam, All Def Poetry Jam. You're going to be all these motherfuckers. She gonna be out here, and everywhere. That's when she gonna get it. You know that they actually had the poetry department for the first time in the Grammys.
Yes,
and Daily Santana was there.
Oh yes, so
she
they had
that, right?
Yes, they had they finally accepted spoken word in the Grammy. So the first person to win a spoken word Grammy is Jay Ivy. He just won in the one that they recently did. And I was showing you one of the people that I was showing you, Prentice Powell. He just dropped an album that he's submitted for a Grammy nomination. So hopefully he gets nominated. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I don't know if that's where I want my project to go right now. I don't want that kind of pressure, because it's what people don't realize. Like, it's not submitting for a Grammy is a whole project in itself. It's not just I'm gonna send this email, submit this file, and then sit back. You have to do a lot of campaigning. People need to know who you are. You have to tour now with this project. There's a lot involved so that you can get attention for the work that you submitted.
And you can't even say vote for me. You have to say something else.
You can't. It's
consider me.
Well, yeah, that's the name of his album, For Your Consideration. And that's the name of his tour. So
and that's what I'm trying to tell you, because you can't say vote for me if you're in this. You have to say consider me or consider this.
Yeah, so, you know, and there's a lot of work that needs to be involved once, you know, you submit your work for something like this. So I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. Yeah. So right now,
in due time you will.
Yeah. And right now I just want to drop this album just to give something to the people that like see me on stage and come to me and they're like, where can I hear your stuff? And I'm like, I don't have anywhere right now.
Yeah, J.Rose, you're aligned. You're focused. You're headed down a path. You see it clearly.
Ashe.
And I wish you nothing but blessings and the best.
Thank you.
Literally.
You too. I see you. We gonna do this together.
We gonna do this together. Yeah, we gonna know. We gonna be out in Dubai somewhere. I'm gonna be like, bitch, where you at? I'm in Greece. I'm in Dubai.
We're gonna be in a studio in some other country.
Right.
Doing this again.
Calling it up like
by the beach and shit. Because I don't know.
Yes.
I want to be by the beach.
Exactly. So you guys already know there's events coming up. And what else do they have to look out for?
Just follow me on the Instagrams. Find me at My Crumble Thoughts. And everything is there. Yes.
And then you guys all can tune in on Reflections with Val, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify. We're all on that. And yeah. Check you guys out another time.
Bye. Keep growing. Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. I love it.
Peace. Bye.